So my name is Shikhar and I'm a mentalist. For those of you wondering what that means, I take magic and psychology and I mix it with lesser known psychological techniques, suggestion, deception, and showmanship to create the illusion of reading minds. Before I begin, I'd like to share a quick story with you. Something that I read as a kid and stayed with me throughout. I remember reading a lot of mythological stories, and this particular one was about Lord Shiva and his third eye. The story goes that once Shiva was seated and Parvati, his wife, came up behind him and covered his eyes with her palms. And just like that, the whole universe was cast into darkness. And so to save the world and to give light to the universe, Shiva had to open his third eye. And so he did. And just like that, he brought light and power to the world. But they say that the heat and the strength of that third eye was so powerful that it made Parvati break into a sweat. That story is something that is so magical and stayed with me till now. Some say the third eye represents wisdom. Some say it represents consciousness. Some say it represents being psychic. I don't know. But I remember the story and I remember thinking, what if I could have a third eye someday? What if I could develop it? What if it could be real? So I'd like to try a quick experiment with you. I'd like someone from the audience to help me out for this next bit. Hi there, the girl in the second row. Yeah, I am talking to you. Right there, don't look back. The girl in the second row, right? Why don't you come and join me out for this next bit? Let's give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Can you have a mic for her, please? Thank you.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, your name is?
Vedika.
Vedika, why don't you step right here with me on the mat? Vedika, yes. Have you ever met before, Vedika?
No, we haven't.
No. Alright, you didn't even know you were going to be picked, yes? Alright. Vedika, do you play cards?
No, I don't.
No, but do you know what they look like?
Yes, I do.
Yes, brilliant. Before we begin, Vedika, I happen to have in my pocket my smartphone. It's right here, and I'd like to give it to you. And I'd like you to put it in your pocket for a bit. If you don't have a pocket, improvise. Alright, we'll get back to that in a bit. I want you to imagine, Vedika, oh wait, would you happen to have a deck of cards on you?
No, I
No. I'm a magician, so I happen to have one on me. But this, Vedika, is not about me, this is about you. Okay? So I want you to imagine pulling out a deck of cards from thin air. Okay? I'll hold the mic for you. And like you imagine opening the box and pulling out the deck. Right? I know it sounds silly, but just go with it. Okay? And I want you to spread it out right here in front of you. Beautiful. Doesn't that feel good? Yeah. Just now, Vedika, I want you to take a moment and purely think of a card. Have you got something?
Yes.
Yes. Now most people, when I ask people to think of a playing card, most women tend to think of the Queen of Hearts or the Queen of Diamonds. Men tend to think of the Jack of Spades, and people in general tend to think of the Ace of Spades. Now that you know that, Vedika, I'd like you to make sure that you're not predictable, and I'd like you to think of something at random. Change your mind a few times just to be sure and settle on something. Have you done so?
Yes.
Yes, so now you have a single card in your mind. Yes? Now, I'd like you to pick that card out from the spread,
Okay.
turn it around, and I'd like you to put it back inside. So now there's only one card that's face up in the spread. Yes? Is there any way I could have known this?
No.
No. Vedika, for the first time, out loud, for everybody right here, I'd like you to tell everyone what is the name of your card that you settled on.
It's the A of Spades.
The Ace of Spades. Like I said, most people tend to go for the Ace of Spades. I told you that, you still decided to go for the Ace of Spades. Yes? And that was completely your choice.
Yes.
Yes? You did change your mind a few times.
Yes, I did.
Alright. Would you believe me, Vedika, if I told you that I have a third eye?
No.
No, most people don't believe me when I say that. Would you believe me if I told you that I used my third eye before I came here to peek into the future and look at what you would pick today? No.
No.
Alright, I want you to hold on to this. Remember the phone I gave you a few moments ago. You've been holding on to it the whole time, yes?
Yes.
I'm going to take it back from you just this moment. And I'm going to unlock it. In fact, I don't even want to touch the screen. I'd like you to click on my photos.
Okay.
And I'd like you to click on my camera roll. And the last picture that I've taken, I don't know if anyone can see right here. Vedika, do you mind telling everybody on the mic, can you say the name of the card out loud?
It's the A of spades.
Yes, spades. Hang on a moment, just a minute. Vedika, can you tell me what time it is right now?
It's 12:14.
And can you tell me what time was the picture taken?
12:07.
When?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Thank you so much, Vedika. I'll send you back. Thank you so much for doing this. Let's give her a round of applause as she walks back. Vedika. So this is what I basically do. I look at someone in the face and I try and figure out what they're thinking about. But it wasn't always like this. My oldest memory is of being probably 6 or 7. I think I was in the first grade. And I remember being in school. Now in school around this time I had a reputation of sort of being like a fixer. So if there was a problem between my friends, they would come up to me and I would figure out a solution and solve it for them. At this time, there was this one math teacher we had who was particularly terrible. She would hit us on our knuckles if we hadn't done our homework and send us back crying. So this one day, we had this India-Pakistan cricket match going on, which was huge in the 90s. Still is. And everyone was at home watching the match. So the next day, I met my friends, we compared notes, and everyone realized that none of us had done their homework. And so all my friends turned to me and they said, Shikhar, what do we do? Now I had no idea what to do. I hadn't done the homework as well. But something interesting had just happened. All my friends had turned to me and believed in me that I'd come up with a solution. And life is a funny way of doing this. When someone believes in you, you tend to believe in yourself. And that's what happened. 6, 7-year-old me went out into the school ground, walked around for a bit, and found the school bell. It was an old style bell. I picked up a stone from the ground. I aimed it at the bell and I threw it. It didn't work. But after a couple of tries, the stone hit the bell, it rang, and in the confusion, school was off, class was off, and I was a hero. And my friends treated me to candies for days after that. When I was a child, life was full of possibilities. Sometimes I wanted to be a postman, sometimes I wanted to be a pilot, sometimes I wanted to be an actor, sometimes a magician. As I grew older, in my teens, this attitude sort of changed. I remember being, instead of friends, now they're being bullies. So now, there was this time where I was being bullied in school. And as a result, I started sort of receding into a shell. I started observing people, watching them talk, watching them react, watching them behave, observing their body language, observing how they talk, their expressions. And I didn't know it then, but maybe that is when I actually started getting interested in reading people. Now, as I grew older, I realized I knew what was expected of me. Go to school, graduate, get a job. And so I pursued my passion of becoming a filmmaker. I went to university, I got a degree, and I got a job in a nice company. After that, I worked for a couple of years making corporate films for a production company. And everything was perfect, as planned, until one day when my boss offered me a promotion in a different city. And this was perfect. So it was the job I had pursued this whole time. It was well-paying, and it was everything I had dreamed of. But still, something didn't feel right. I realized that I wanted to actually perform, and I wanted to be a storyteller. But at the time, it seemed impossible, because I would have to start from scratch again, see. This is a Rubik's Cube. Most of us have played with this at some point as kids. Fewer of us have tried solving it. And fewer still can actually manage to solve one. To me, this is not just a Rubik's Cube. This is much more than a Rubik's Cube. This, to me, is a symbol of the human mind. Although my mind at the time looked a little more something like this, completely mixed up. But that's the thing. I realized something else. Magic is about finding the middle ground between what's possible and the impossible. And if you can focus, if you can accept all the changes that you're going through, and if just for a moment you can believe, then maybe you can do the impossible and have everything solved. Thank you. And so I decided to go for broke, and I decided to take the plunge, and I quit my job. I went back home, and I reconnected and I rediscovered my passion for magic. I had to start somewhere, so I started on the streets. I would go up on the streets of Bombay to random people, I would do magic to them, turn around, go to someone else, and do it all over again. And that's how I sort of taught myself my art. In the process, I also failed many times. But surprisingly, it didn't matter, because I loved to perform, and I loved performing for people on the streets. Even if I failed, it didn't matter because it was so gratifying. Failure had never been so gratifying. And so I went on. Also, I realized that at a time when I needed the most, it was complete strangers on the streets of Bombay who believed in me. And when they believed in me, I believed in myself. They thought that this guy is going to show us something interesting. And if it's not, it doesn't matter. It's all right. And so, as I went on, I realized that I had this interest in psychology. So I started reading up a lot about psychology, about psychological techniques, and very organically my magic so I started moving away from traditional magic and more towards psychology and psychological techniques. And just then, I had like an epiphany. What if I could mix magic and psychology? Maybe I could mix the two and actually develop a third eye. So I'd like to do one more quick experiment with someone from the audience. Hi, yeah, the girl who has her hand raised. Hi, yes, you. Let's give her a round of applause as she comes on the stage. Hi, why don't you step right here. Thank you so much. Hi, your name is?
Samya.
Soumya, thank you so much for doing this, Soumya.
No problem.
Soumya, have we ever met before?
Nope, we haven't.
Will we meet again?
Maybe.
Just kidding. Alright, Soumya, what I have with me right here is a book. It's called A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I'm sure some of you would have read it. It's a classic. I'd like you to go through this. This is a book that I read as a kid and I fell in love with. I'd like you to go through the pages, Soumya. Make sure it's a normal book. Make sure every page is different and it's not a trick book. Take all day. We have all the time in the world. I'm kidding. Are you done?
Yeah.
Alright. So let's try this. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to test me, Soumya.
Okay.
Alright. I'd like you to, I'm going to ask you to just stop somewhere in the pages and I'd like you to just remember a word. Okay? But make sure it's not a small word like the, but, and, if, or. Make sure it's slightly bigger word.
Okay.
Yes?
Yep.
Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm just going to go like this. Right? In fact, let's go like this so it's easier. Yep. When you feel like stopping, just say stop.
Stop.
Right here?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Alright. I want you to just look at the first word over here, for example. Got it?
Yeah.
Alright. Just like that. Stop. Now you have a word in your mind right now, yes?
Yes.
Don't say it out loud.
Okay.
But I'd like you to look at the audience. Okay? And I'd like you to imagine this word and just say it to yourself over and over again. Over and over. Okay. This is not a very long word. This is not a very short word. Am I right?
Yep.
Yes. Excellent. I'd like you to just imagine saying the word to yourself in your mind. Pick someone in the audience at random and just imagine saying the word out to them. Imagine screaming it out to them. Yeah. Louder and louder in your mind. Louder and louder. We heard about energies and vibrations. Imagine sending them through the word to someone in the audience. Louder and louder. Excellent. I'll just try this. Imagine the first alphabet. Look at someone in the audience. Imagine the first alphabet.
Right.
Is there an A in this word?
Yes, that is.
Yes. Just 25 more letters to go and we're done. I'm just kidding. All right. There's an A in this word, right? Okay, let's try this. I want you to think about the second alphabet.
Yes.
Say it out in your mind. The second alphabet. Is there an E in this word as well?
That is.
Is your word A?
No.
Okay, didn't think so. It was worth a try. All right. Think of the first letter, the second letter, the last. Stop. Think of the last letter one more time, the last alphabet. I'd like you to open your mouth a little bit. This might sound silly, but open your mouth a little bit, and I'd like you to say the word in your mind, but don't actually say it. Just imagine saying it. The last alphabet. Okay, stop. It's sort of like an L. It's like curling your tongue like an L. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Let's try this. I'd like you to close your eyes and don't open them until I tell you to. Don't worry, I won't do anything strange. Wait, I can't promise that. But just keep your eyes closed. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try and tell you what it is because I think I have it. Okay. Don't say anything out loud. Okay. I'm going to show you what I think she is thinking of. I think she's thinking of this. Can everyone see it? Yes? All right. I'd like you to open your eyes now. I'm going to give you a count to 3, and in your loudest, best public speaking voice, I'd like you to yell out the word you're thinking of. Okay?
Okay.
3. Wait. I'm going to actually try and guess again. This is not a 3-letter word, right? It's something longer.
Yeah.
Probably like 5 letters?
Yeah.
Yes, excellent. Okay, let's give you a countdown now. 3, 2, 1. What is the word you're thinking of?
Angel.
Angel. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I got Angel right here. I'll take the mic from you. Thank you so much. I'll send you back. Let's give a round of applause as she goes back. Thank you so much. And so I had this epiphany. I pursued it for a bit. And I started performing from the streets, I started performing in restaurants. I started doing tables on Sundays at a time where there were hardly any magicians performing at any venues. And from the tables, I started doing stuff on stage. I started performing on stage. And as I kept performing, the word sort of spread out. So people started inviting me to do corporate shows and to perform at other kinds of events. And just like that, I was on my way. I've been through a lot since then, but throughout my journey, one thing has remained the same. A couple of things actually. Now one, I love to perform. I still love performing. I realized that change is the only thing that is constant. And finally I realized one more thing which I would love to share with you, one thought that I'd love to share with you. But for this next bit, I'd like to call someone on stage. Hi, how about you? Yes? Let's give a round of applause to this lovely lady right here. Hi. Your name is?
Dhruvi.
Hi Dhruvi, thank you so much for doing this. Dhruvi, before we begin, I'd like to ask you, have you set anything up? You didn't know you were going to be picked, yes?
Yeah. Nothing at all.
Random.
Yes.
Alright. We began this talk, Dhruvi, with me sort of guessing a card that someone else was thinking of. But I'd like to teach you something. I'd like to reverse and do the opposite now. I'd like for you to guess what I'm thinking about. Don't be shocked. We'll take one step further. Don't be shocked. We'll just humor me. We'll try and see how it goes.
All right.
Okay? Just believe. So let's try this. I have one card. Remember I said I have a deck of cards in my pocket because I'm a magician. I do, and it's right here. Alright? I'd like you to hold on to it. In this deck of cards, there's one card that I turned around. Just one card in the deck before I came here. It's going to be your job, Dhruvi, to try and guess what card I'm thinking about.
Okay.
Okay? Alright. So let's try this. I want you to take a moment and I want you to just think of a card in your mind. If you want, you can change your mind a few times. You can settle on one. but find the card that you feel that it calls out to you. Find your rhythm. Find your card. Got something?
Yes.
Yes. Like I said, change is the only thing that's constant. So I'd like you to still change it a few times just to be sure.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Despite changing it, you're fine. You're sure about the one you want.
Yes,
All
yes.
right. Let's try this. There's only one card inside, Dhruvi. I'm going to open the box for the first time. Before we go on, I want you to name the card that you thought of. Say it out loud for the first time for everyone.
9 of hearts.
9 of hearts.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to open the box. Like I said, there's only one card that is face down in this deck. Let's try this. It's actually can you see it somewhere? Nope. Alright. Let's go through it again. Just one card right here.
Yeah, right here.
I'd like you to hold on to it. Don't turn it around. Just hold on to it. Alright? Just hold on to it and don't turn it around just yet. I'll get back to you in a quick moment. Okay, I'd like to share something with you. When I was a kid, my favorite festival was Christmas because Santa Claus and presents. And I remember Santa Claus was such a huge inspiration to me because all around the year there was nothing. And just keep it straight. And just this one time, I suddenly get so many presents. So I behaved myself all around the year just to have an effect on that one day. Now, I remember this one day, Christmas Eve was coming. I went to my friend's house, I was smiling, I was happy. And I said, I looked at him, I said, hi, and he said, why are you smiling? And I said, are you kidding, it's Christmas, Santa's coming. And he looked at me and he said, you do know Santa Claus is not real, right? Now, I didn't want to seem uncool, so I laughed and I said, yeah, I know he's not real. But I left and I was heartbroken because he'd taken away the one thing that I loved away from me. And imagine if you love something so much right now, imagine if someone ripped it away from you. Imagine how you would feel, because that's how I felt at the time. Anyways, I know you must be wondering why I'm telling you all this. And as I grew older, I realized there is only one thing that can stop Santa Claus from being real. Do you know what that is?
Belief, maybe.
Yes, you're right. It's belief. Belief is what makes the greatest things in life come true. And lack of belief is what stops one of the greatest things in life from being real. I know you're wondering why I'm telling you all this. I'm telling you all this because, Dhruvi, you are one decision away from changing the rest of your life. You can either choose to turn that card around and risk ruining it for yourself and for everybody else who's watching. Or you can choose to believe. You don't need to look at it because you know it's the right one. And if you do choose to believe, Dhruvi, I'll take that card, I'll put it back inside, and we'll all go back home with a special story of this special moment that we shared together. So what would you like to do? Do you want to turn it around, or would you like to put it back?
I like to put it back.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You'd like to put it back?
Yes, I like to put it back.
Alright, she's made a decision. For the last time, are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Excellent. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it back inside the deck. Let's have a round of applause for Dhruvi, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I'm Shikhar Kamat and believe. Thank you so much.